Okay, so are you a free faller? A soldier? Maybe you sleep in the fetal position. For years, we've been told our nighttime posture tells this whole story about our personality. But what if that's just not the right story? Let's dive in and find out what your sleep position is really trying to tell you. So, this whole idea really got going back in the 1970s. There was a psychoanalyst, Samuel Dunkel, and he came up with this really fascinating theory that your sleep position was basically a window into your soul. Sleep on your back in the royal position? Well, you must be super confident. Curled up in a semi-fetal pose? Oh, you're sensible and well-adjusted. It's a pretty cool idea, right? Well, here's the thing. As fun as those ideas are to think about, they lack any real definitive scientific proof. It's a lot more pop psychology than it is hard science. So if our sleep position isn't spilling our personality secrets, then what is it revealing? And that is the real question, isn't it? If we just set that whole personality myth aside, we actually uncover a much more important connection, one that's all about our physical health. I mean, how we position our bodies for those hours every night can have a direct impact on everything from our spine to our breathing. So let's start our investigation right there, with the myth itself. It's an interesting place to begin, for sure, but it's time to see what's really going on. Now, we all love those creative names like the zombie or the mountain climber, but sleep experts have really simplified things. When you get right down to it, there are only four main positions our bodies can be in. And here they are. It's pretty straightforward. Prone, which is on your stomach, supine, on your back, and then, of course, on your left or right side. Every single one of those creative positions you've ever heard of, it's just a variation on one of these four basic choices. What's really interesting here is how our preferences change over our lives. As babies, we're always told to sleep on our backs, but as we get older, we start to move around. And by the time we're adults, a really clear pattern shows up. The vast majority of us become side sleepers, while sleeping on your stomach becomes the least popular choice of all. So let's start our analysis with that least popular position, sleeping on your stomach. It turns out there is a pretty good reason why so few of us choose it, and why a lot of experts are a little wary of it. So the big issue is the strain it can put on your body. Sleeping prone can actually flatten the natural curve of your spine, which can lead to stiffness and tension when you wake up. But it's not all bad. For patients with very specific respiratory conditions, this exact position can actually be a huge help, allowing the back of their lungs to expand more easily. Okay, now let's get to the two heavyweights, back sleeping versus side sleeping. This is where most of us spend our nights, so let's really put them head to head. And this table just lays out the trade-offs perfectly. For spine alignment, both can actually be great, especially if you use pillows for little support. Think under the knees for back sleepers or between the knees for side sleepers. But the big difference maker is breathing. Sleeping on your back can sometimes cause your airway to collapse a little, which leads to snoring and can make sleep apnea worse. Side sleeping, on the other hand, usually helps keep those airways open. Now, if you do choose to sleep on your side, which side you pick actually matters a lot. For anyone who deals with acid reflux or heartburn, sleeping on your left side is definitely the way to go. Your stomach is on the left side of your body, so this position basically uses gravity to keep stomach acid right where it belongs. But the story is completely different for people with certain heart conditions, like congestive heart failure. In those cases, sleeping on the right side can actually relieve pressure on the chest and lead to much better sleep. It really just shows how personal the right position can be. So, after looking at all this evidence, we're getting closer to a conclusion. What is the right position for you? But hold on, here's one final twist. Just when you think you've picked your position for the night, your body has other plans. Most of us will actually shift our position about 20 to 30 times a night, and we don't even realize it. And I know you might think that sounds really restless, but this movement is actually a good thing. Think of it as your body's built-in defense mechanism. It's how you naturally relieve pressure points, respond to any discomfort, and even prevent injury while you sleep. So the final verdict from our little investigation is this. There is no universal best position. It's not about finding one perfect pose to lock yourself into. It's all about understanding what your own body needs based on your unique health. And that brings us right back to our original question, but with a whole new perspective. It's not about what your position says about your personality. It's about what your body needs for rest and recovery. So the question becomes, what can you do to help it get the best sleep possible? Ultimately, the goal is pretty simple. The best sleep position is just the one that allows you to wake up feeling refreshed, without pain, and ready for the day. So listen to your body, make little adjustments for your health, and trust that the key to a good night's sleep is just finding what gives you the best rest.